He's the star, Richard Bazzi from Schultz Ford, schultzford.com. I'm Bubba from 100.7 Star. In the years that we have been doing Car Stars and everything in between, I am not sure we have ever had a star of this magnitude on with us. We are blessed and honored to have with us today Mr. Wayne Newton.
Hey, thank you very, very much. And you just don't get any better than that kind of introduction. And I thank you.
Wow.
Wayne, I have to be so honest with you. I did, in some of these names, you'll know, some you won't, but the King of Las Vegas, and it's true. I spent time as the director of entertainment and special events for Caesars in Lake Tahoe.
Oh,
And so we have names like Alan Margulies and Tom Willer. And I mean, these are names you might know.
I know them very well. Yes.
Yeah. And so how about Dan Chandler? Do you know that name?
Yes, I do. Of course.
Dan was, if you can imagine, my boss when I worked there. And if you can imagine the most irresponsible person in the world being your boss, you realize that we had nothing but fun. We hung out backstage, and you were and are still larger than life to me.
Thank you.
I mean, you are just, I mean, what a legend. And I just don't even know where to take this. You are still so active. Tell us where you came from, where you're going. What is happening in Wayne Newton's life today?
Well, the truth of the matter is, I could say the same thing about you. I mean, I see you're still there, you're still going. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
I started at the age of 4 years old in Virginia, which is where I'm from originally, and had a local radio show there, singing and playing steel guitar. And then I developed bronchial asthma, and we had to move to Phoenix, Arizona. And in Phoenix, my brother and I had entered a local talent contest, which, with the grace of the good men upstairs, we won. And that gave us our own weekly television show from the time I was 8 years old until I was 15. And at 15, an agent from California came through Phoenix, saw that television show, called my parents, and asked that we audition in Las Vegas. And so we took a Greyhound bus to Las Vegas, auditioned at the Fremont Hotel, and the gentleman listened to 2 songs and got up to leave. And I thought, well, back to school. And so he looked back at me before he walked out the door. And his name was Eddie Torres, which I'm sure you're familiar with.
Yes, sir.
And, Richard. And so he looked back at me and he said, if we can get you a work permit, I'll hire you guys for 2 weeks. And so we got the work permit, and it said Wayne Newton can work at the Fremont Hotel. He's just not allowed to be in the place he's working. I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah, really?
Until I got the schedule of work. And the schedule of work was 6 shows a night, 6 nights a week.
Wow.
And that 2 weeks turned into a 5-year contract. And so we did 6 shows a night, 6 nights a week for 5 years. What the work permit meant is we would do 40 minutes on stage, 20 minutes off, 40 minutes on, 20 minutes off, 6 times a night. In that 20 minutes, I could not stay in the hotel because I was not 21 years old.
Wow.
And I had to go out and stand on the street corner for 5 years. And of course, it bugged me at first until I met some of the beautiful ladies working that corner. And so that's how I got started in Vegas. And then in 1963, our first engagement in a main room was at the Flamingo, which I'm at now. And it's taken me all these years to get back there. And we did 2 shows a night, 7 nights a week. So I think they added all those shows up, and I've done in excess of 50,000 shows in Las Vegas over the
Did you
years.
say you said 50,000?
50,000 shows.
Okay. There can't be anybody that even comes close to that. There can't be. But the interesting thing is you went from performing at a casino. Didn't you also become an owner of the Aladdin?
Yes, I did become an owner of the Aladdin in 1980, and I was the owner for 5 years. And then I got sick of people coming up to me telling me that their toilets didn't work and that they had problems doing this and doing that in the hotel. And I decided that owning a hotel was not something that I enjoyed. And so I sold my interest to Eddie Torres, and who had given me my first job, interestingly enough, in Las Vegas at the Fremont Hotel. So I then moved over to the Caesar's Palace and then to the Hilton, and on and on and on it went.
So
And
with Caesars, who were you? Were you dealing with Alan Margulies at Caesars at that time?
yes, as a matter of fact, Alan became my manager after that engagement at Caesars
I did not know,
for, I think, about 4 years.
did not know that. Is he still around?
Yes, he is. And in fact, he's handling Engelbert Humperdinck now. And so he's doing his shows and that kind of thing in terms of bookings.
Wow. There's so much history and so many stories in Las Vegas, and people wonder sometimes, Wayne, if they're all true. And you know, I have such a limited exposure to it, but you have the very best view of it all.
Well, you know what they say, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well,
Except it never does.
it never does. It never does.
Hey, Wayne, I have the strangest question you've ever been asked. You ready for it?
Okay, Bubba.
You were very good friends with Jackie Gleason, correct?
Correct.
And you were very close with him. Is that not also true?
That is true.
Did Jackie Gleason have proof that aliens existed? Did he go with Richard Nixon to see Area 51 to see if aliens existed? And did he ever tell you the truth about that?
No, he didn't. He never discussed that with me at any time. And that is all news to me. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But it does not surprise me with Mr. Gleason because I think my favorite story in doing his shows, when I was doing the first or second show of Mr. Gleason's, coming back on the air, he was seated in the audience with his director, and he had a stand-in for he himself on stage to do the comedy bits. And he sat there and watched it, and I was behind him watching him. And he finally got so fed up with the stand-in, he jumped up and he said some dirty words, which I will not use on television. And he said, he wouldn't do it that way. And he gets up and gets on stage and does the routine himself. Wow. And that was Jackie Gleason. He was so intent on perfection. And it was a great learning experience for me.
If you're just tuning in, this is the biggest star we've ever had. This is Wayne Newton. When we come back, more with Mr. Las Vegas himself, Wayne Newton. This is Cars, Stars, and everything in between. We'll be right back.
Wayne, this is one of the most enjoyable conversations that we've had on this show.
You're
really
very kind. Thank you very much. And it's such a great
fabulous. You look great. You sound great. Wow. And I will ask you next.
Okay.
You ready, Bob?
1 second. This is right. Stand by. Just want to make sure that it's saved correctly. Don't want to lose any of that amazingness. By the way, those of you that are watching live, thank you so much. This is awesome. Yeah, supposedly Richard Nixon took Jackie Gleason on an Air Force One to Area 51, and that's why he built the house that looked like a UFO. That's the story. All right.
When I got married, Mr. Gleason had passed away, but his wife and June Taylor came to the wedding and gave my wife and I the pool cue that Jackie used in the movie that he had
Oh my
done.
God, that's unbelievable.
And so we still have it to this day.
That's beautiful. All right, here we go. 100.1 FM, AM 1020 KDKA. This is Car Stars and everything in between. No big intro. Mr. Las Vegas himself, Wayne Newton, is live. Let's just get right back to it.
Bubba and Wayne, I want to share this with people that I'm looking on screen at Wayne. He looks fabulous.
Yes.
Defies all age. He looks fabulous. He sounds fabulous. And he's got such an electric smile that it just really is. He's got, Quincy Jones used to say, and when he described Michael Jackson, and there was somebody else named Tevin Campbell, and he said certain entertainers have it, and he would do the air quotes, it. And the it is undefinable. And Wayne, if there's anybody in the world that I would say has it is absolutely 1,000,000% you.
You're very kind, and I thank you, Richard. God
Well,
bless.
and I mean that. And by the way, you will be performing here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, on the most famous day in the world, my birthday,
Yeah.
Hey, happy birthday.
August 30th.
Carnegie Music Hall.
Carnegie Music Hall in Pittsburgh. You will be performing live. And I'll tell you, Wayne, I don't go to concerts. I've never gone to a true concert. 100,000 people don't interest me. I have a hard time finding several that I like. But so I don't really attend those, but I always loved the performances in Lake Tahoe in Las Vegas. I'd love to be backstage. I'd love to be part of it, sit in the dressing room, and just kind of hang out with everybody. And it was always.
Please promise me you'll do that and come to the show.
Oh my!
Hang out in the dressing room, okay?
Wait a second. Wayne Newton, are you inviting Richard Bazzi on August 30th, his birthday, to come to the Carnegie Music Hall to hang out with you backstage before the show?
That's exactly what I'm doing, and I would love a yes from you, Richard.
Wow. Okay. Yes.
Yeah!
Yes.
Oh,
Yes!
okay.
That's awesome. What
Wow.
a moment.
Now I have to do it. Wayne, let me ask you this. Is there any story that you can share, a behind the scenes story, something that maybe people aren't aware of or you haven't shared before, and without compromising your confidentialities?
Well, let me. I think there are two things, and both of them deal with Mr. Sinatra. Okay, and that is that he became a friend of mine long before I even knew about it. When I was at the Fremont for that 5 years, anytime Mr. Sinatra was doing a special show on the Strip to raise money for the university or a charity of any kind, he always made sure that there was room and time on that show for me to perform. Wow. And I never understood why, because there was quite a difference in our age groups. And his wife told me many years later, she said, that was Frank's way of looking out for you, to make sure you survived this industry. And you didn't get into trouble. You didn't go down the wrong path, and you did not show up at any of his parties.
Wayne, what about your relationship with Elvis Presley? Could you
Elvis
on that a little bit?
Became very, very dear friends. And when he first came to Las Vegas, of course, I was downtown at the Fremont, and I wanted to go see him because I was a big, big fan. Did not get a chance because I was doing 6 shows a night, 6 nights a week. And so I didn't get a chance to go see Elvis. A year or two passes, and I get the opportunity to go to Los Angeles and be the guest star on the #1 rated Western on television. It was called Bonanza.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm sitting there, my first acting role, learning my script. And we were shooting that at the Paramount Motion Picture Lot in Los Angeles. And I feel somebody tap me on the shoulder, and I turn around, and who would that be but Elvis?
Wow.
Well, I started mumbling about what a big fan I was and all that stuff. And he held up his hand for me to quit talking. And so I did. And he said, Wayne, he said, I'm doing one of my films on the next set here at Paramount. He said, and the guys in the band told me you were here. He said, I came over here to ask you a question. And I said, sure, go ahead. And he said, do you know a girl by the name of Sandy Farah? And I said, well, yes, we're dating. And he said, so are we.
Oh,
That was my first introduction to Elvis. And we both luckily started to laugh hysterically, became instantaneous friends for the rest of his life.
Wow.
And he was one great human being.
wow. Wayne, I'm sure there's everybody that's seen you would say the same about you. You did stay out of that path. You never went down that bad path. And
Thank you.
You've remained just such an illustrious star and set such an example. What do you see for that industry as we go forward? Do you see the live entertainment and the casinos thriving?
The live entertainment is coming back big time. And of course, Vegas has gone through many changes from live entertainment when I went there with Frank and Dean and Sam and all of us who played lounges then. And then we went into the area of magic, if you'll remember, with Siegfried and Roy.
Yeah.
And then we went to the element of people impersonating famous people.
Right.
And now we've come back to star policy again.
I love
So having gone through those in the years that I've been there, it's wonderful to have star policy back.
Yeah, we had David Copperfield for 6 months. We booked him for 6 months. Actually, Robin Perlman booked him, Clifford's daughter. But yeah, so we had David for 6 months, and that was fun. But that was just one of the stages that you mentioned, which was the magicians.
Yes.
So we had that. But I really love the star power of a single person or a band. I love that. I think that nothing can take its place. You think about the people that were so fabulous are still fabulous. Yourself, Cher was fabulous in a showroom environment.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so, yeah, those are the kind of things that I think are iconic. And as you go forward, do you see them really coming back full circle? I mean, you're still doing it, right?
Yes, I am.
And I don't know how you do it because it must be, I mean, it's such a production to get ready for, to perform every night. What if you're having a bad day? How do you overcome that?
You overcome the bad day by going to work. For example, when both my parents died, my father and mother, 4 or 5 years apart, I had opening nights, both nights that happened. And I called my conductor and I said, if I ever needed to come to work, it's tonight.
Oh, wow.
And do me a favor, tell everybody I understand them wanting to give me their condolences, etc. Please do not mention it. Let me go do what I do, and that is try and bring happiness into other people's lives, because they're not here and they don't come to the show to hear my problems. They come to lose their own. And so it's important.
Wow.
It's important that's what you do.
I would
Wait.
not think that would be your answer to that, and that's certainly not something that I would even think of being able to do. It's unthinkable and just mind-boggling. It really is. It really sheds the light on who you really are.
Thank you.
And honestly, that statement is one that I'm going to ask us to write down and keep it because it's
Me too.
really inspirational. Thank
Wait.
you so much.
Wayne Newton, on Richard Bazzi's birthday, August 30th, you're going to be at the Carnegie Music Hall. Hopefully you sell out. And I think it's just an amazing thing that you've done by inviting Richard to meet you before or after the show. That is really unbelievable. You are truly a blessing. You're an icon, and we're beyond blessed to have had you on with us today.
God bless you, and thank you both. It's been a wonderful discussion, and I'll see you on your birthday.